online and here. Play or on air. Chill and chat.
Hello and welcome to Chill and Chat. I'm Josh and today I'm joined with my co-host.
My name's Tom. Hello, everyone.
So, today we will be coming up with great news to talk about, a bit of a chat, and some music you can chill and relax to whilst you either do your studies or just want a bit of a break. First up on the list though, we have LMFAO, Party Rock Anthem.
And here. Play or on air. Chill and chat.
That was LMFAO's Party Rock Anthem.
It's a brilliant song, that one.
Love it. It's such an old classic as well. Talking about things we like anyways. YouTubers. Who's your favourite YouTuber?
I range from a few right now. KSI's one that I'm very interested in right now, obviously with his slight feud with Dax right now.
It's gonna fight me, innit? Some sort of sparring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'll come to that. YouTube's been a bit controversial lately. A lot of fake rivalries, I think, for the money
you got
and
the whole-
recognition.
Well, I mean, then you got the whole PewDiePie and T-Series thing.
Yeah, it's
But
just
the main thing I think at the moment is that whole Dax and KSI thing. Because how did that all start?
I believe that KSI mentioned Dax in one of his videos, and Dax said if this guy mentions me in one more of his videos, I'm gonna fly to London. And KSI responded to the tweet and said, "I'll pay for your flight and accommodation."
Do you think he's actually going to fight KSI, or do you think he's going to? No.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you had the Logan Paul and KSI fight, which was a few months ago now, and I feel like after that everything was alright. It ended in a draw, and it felt a bit staged to an extent, I'd say. So it's tough to tell. I think it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think it'll be because they genuinely hate each other. I think it'll be more of a money-making scheme from the both of them.
I mean, there has been evidence that, well, even Daxa says that, I think in a message that he sent to KSI about how to spar. What do you think that says about him?
Well, I think I saw those messages on a channel on a YouTube video that KSI put out himself, and he said he showed the messages between him and Dax. I mean, I think Dax did write like he was talking. He was putting on a persona when he was talking to KSI, and then he thought when it was private DMs, he tended to seem a lot more relaxed and said he needs to get in touch with his management team and all that to make sure he can definitely go through with it because he's on tour. So
Yeah.
it seemed a lot of talk from Dax. I mean, KSI as well. I mean, he's boxed for a while now, but still, I don't think he's good enough to be challenging everyone around the world type of thing.
I mean, it's all sort of kind of amateur boxing, really,
Yeah.
with these whole YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah, with YouTubers anyways, as I was saying, PewDiePie and T-Series, the stats are going up. Not sure what their margin is at the moment. Last time I checked is that Pewds is at nearly 90 subs, around 89 subs, with T-Series not far behind, at a few 100,000 subs behind. Who do you think, in your opinion, is going to win this battle? Well, so-called battle.
Well, it's very tough, isn't it? I mean, because you've got, if I got the correct stats right in front of us coming up in a minute, and I mean, PewDiePie is obviously very recognised around the world. I mean, for me, he's got a very big following. I mean, it's right now, it's T-Series 10,000 behind PewDiePie. PewDiePie's on 89.1 million and T-Series are, but they're 10,000 behind, so it's tough to say, I guess.
That's quite a lot. That's quite a small.
They've
little
definitely
gap.
gained ground on PewDiePie. He was 50,000 up at one point, I think, on that, and he's definitely made up ground. But it's tough to say with something like that, I guess, because it's just a race to see who gets more recognition. They're both trying hard. I mean, PewDiePie, he criticises a lot of things in his videos, and then he kind of, I think, to get the people on board who he criticises, he's tried to do things on his channel to enable him to get maybe the people who don't really like him on board with him as well. I mean, for example, the other day he was playing Fortnite, and he always takes the mick out of Fortnite a bit, so it's very tough to say. Like, he's obviously knows what he's doing business wise, but I mean, I've watched PewDiePie a few times. I'm not his biggest fan, but I've never really watched T-Series. But I've heard that T-Series is just a thing that is mostly recognised in India.
Yeah, I mean, there was a video that came out, I think, either last week or a few days ago, that was interviewing different Indians, and the story. I've never actually heard of T-Series anyways before in my life, and listening to that, I sort of have an idea of what T-Series is. They're more kind of a main media focused company, and this whole thing is just literally corporation versus independent creators, which initially YouTube, I believe, was sort of created for. But I don't even think that subscribers really count anymore. I mean, yeah, it brings in the money and stuff like that, but in all honesty, if it was me being PewDiePie and someone decided to come out with loads of subs right behind me, wanted to overtake, I wouldn't really care. In all honesty, but
yeah, I mean, YouTube's become that very much now. It's a lot of people just have a massive rise in the popularity they get. I mean, subscribers are very important, because the more subscribers you get, the more income you will get. Like, you'd think, wouldn't you? But I mean, it's very tough right now, because I mean, it's, for example, the KSI Logan Paul fight. Mentioning it again, they're not two of the YouTubers. They're two of the YouTubers that have the most subscribers, but none of them have the most. But they're both, the amount of money both of them must have earned from that is astounding, and really, like, do you need subscribers for that? No, because you can attract people in so many different ways, from appealing to people's, like, entertaining people outside of the business as well. Because I mean, you got YouTube and boxing mixed there. The boxing fans are going to be tuning in, the sports fans are going to be tuning in, and even the YouTube fans are going to be tuning in.
because it's all mixed up.
Yeah, it's international as well. You got Logan Paul from America, KSI from
UK.
Yeah, so it's people around the world want to watch that and want to see what is going on.
Anyways, that's a bit of our YouTube chat there. Next up, we have All Saints with Pure Shores. Pure Shores by All Saints. Yeah. Fancy that?
It's a brilliant song again. Big fan.
Yeah. So we've been talking about YouTubers, and you know, their little squabbles that has been happening recently. Next up, we'll be talking about is movies. Is there any movies you've been seeing recently or heard of recently?
I've not seen it yet, but I really want to go to see that new Captain Marvel film.
Alright, I've seen that actually. I saw that last Sunday. Not giving much away for anyone who hasn't seen it. In my honest opinion, I think it was rather good. I mean, I don't really watch Marvel most of the time, but to watch another one, I thought it was rather pleasing. The story was quite good. Other than, I mean, the way it was, I think it could have been storyboarded a little bit better.
It's had very mixed reviews, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Some people have been saying it's brilliant. Some people have been saying they're a bit disappointed with it.
I mean, it's good. I'm slightly in the middle for stuff like that. I liked the story. I liked how it was all laid out. I liked the characters. I connected with the characters pretty well. But then I think some parts of it were slightly iffy. Seemed like part of it made me think it was sort of like a kind of TV series. But then part of me thought, okay, it's just a film. But with Marvel, what have you noticed within, like, them making new movies?
Well, what you said about the TV series doesn't really surprise me, because they've on Netflix put a few shows out, and they are Marvel shows, like their TV series. So maybe they're trying to get into that a bit more. Maybe get more TV series out, so it's more of a continuous thing people can watch instead of seeing a film, seeing that film, and that being it. For a series, they can build it up and make it like more for a fan to watch. So, I mean, when the Infinity War was in the cinema, I went to see that, and there's so much hype around Marvel films, and it's a brilliant film, but it's just
The hype is a bit
yeah,
too.
you do question that hype. If there's that much hype for a film, then it's got to really deliver, which I think it did. The special effects were brilliant, the sound in the film was brilliant, and the way the film was made was brilliant. But you sit there in the cinema and think, how do people go and see this film 4 or 5 times in a week? Because some people did.
I mean, I can easily watch. It depends. I've got to really like the film if I'm going to watch it about 3-4 times. I mean, last year when The Greatest Showman came out, 2018, The Greatest Showman came out. I watched that about. Honestly, I watched that about 5 times. I mean, its reviews weren't at the best. I mean, it was a great show, and it was probably one of the film highlights of 2018. But in my opinion, I loved it, even though the story of it was based on a true story. So that's something I like. But then it sort of dragged. Not gonna lie, it has parts in it that dragged, and the hype of it was unnecessary. Not gonna lie, I mean, yeah, probably Hugh Jackman was in there. He came from Wolverine. But then, yeah, the hype was rather unnecessary, and that's sort of come to the same with this whole new Captain Marvel movie.
That's a big thing though now, films. I mean, they put a lot of money into marketing them, so when they come out and go and pay your money to go and see them, they have to be completely brilliant for you to walk away and feel completely satisfied with the reviews you see, with the way in which the trailers are presented to you. I think you have to go in and think that film was brilliant. I mean, for example, I saw Aquaman advertised, and I saw that film, and instantly I wanted to see it. I was like, it looked beautiful. Like the graphics of it looked beautiful. The animation that they added in looked beautiful.
The whole CGI and that.
Yeah, I heard people came out of the cinema and said that it was nowhere near as good as they thought it would be.
And that seems to be. It's not only like kind of movies that are sort
TV
of like
series
TV
as well.
series like
Yeah.
that. I mean, as a Doctor Who fan myself, the last series that I just aired, Series 11, that was a massive hype. I think maybe because also there was hardly any trailers released until nearer the air date of the show. But when it comes down to sort of all the trailers that came out at the end of each episode, there's so much hype, and then as soon as that episode came out, it was literally nothing that portrayed in the sort of trailers.
I think that's a big risk though now. A lot of companies tend to go for the we won't give anything away.
Yeah.
But then if you have someone who goes and sees that and they're really not enjoying that, then it's disappointing. But then I guess you're always gonna
got their views as long as they've got their view count. I
mean, Doctor Who's been around for years, and I mean they're
Yeah.
probably still doing well now. I've never been a massive fan myself, but I could definitely see why people like it. But I mean, there's been a lot of controversy spoken about recently of Doctor Who and stuff, and I've never really taken much notice of it because it's never really been a show that I feel inclined to watch. Like, I've never really been brought up with that Doctor Who type of.
I mean, 50
hype.
years is quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, in my honest opinion, for how the show is at the moment, 50 years quite a lot. I think it's starting to sort of show its age. It's starting to tire. I think most of the storylines it's covered is sort of having a repeat on it. And when trailers are shown, and this is the same with other shows as well, when trailers are shown, it looks different. But then when you look at the actual episode, then it just looks the same as probably something they've done already.
Do you feel that the season 11 brings justice to the rest of it, or do you think it's
I think
a big letdown?
there's been sort of like kind of arguments about this whole new series about, I mean, you have the people who hate the whole thing of Doctor being a woman. I mean, I'm not against all that. I mean, Jodie as the Doctor is fantastic. I mean, even if she hasn't watched any Doctor Who, she's tried her best to try and portray that. But the writing, in all honesty, the writing sort of slacks, especially with the whole Doctor Who's sort of taken the political sort of path, as I've seen in most comments, PC as people call it. because each episode has at least related to some sort of political event that's happened in our world, like terrorism, politicalness, and that, and because it's not been shown throughout the series, I think people are prone to not liking that sort of change. But with that whole hype and how it's been written, I understand that it's not really done it any justice about kind of involving them sort of subjects.
I think it's a risky thing to add though, because I mean, for someone our age, you understand all that. But for me, I think Doctor Who as a show is also trying to appeal to a lot of younger people.
Children, yeah.
And if they're getting events from the last decade, the last 30 years, the last 20 years, when Doctor Who was a big thing, and I mean, it's
involving history. Like, they've trying to focus on sort of like the history aspect, but also the space, and that's how it originally started out back in the 60s and 70s.
That'd be very, very tough though to get the youth of today into watching that when they have their video games now. They have other shows that really will appeal to them. I mean, a big thing I've heard about the latest season of Doctor Who is it feels very outdated to certain people already, and it's only just come out.
I've already sort of gotten. There's only one episode called Kablam that really hurts me, but that's because it sort of hooked me back into the sort of David Tennant days, back in the old days that's when most people actually liked the series. I think back in when Tennant, Matt Smith, or sort of Christopher Eccleston sort of starred in around sort of like the younger days. But yeah, that's how I feel most movies and kind of television shows sort of they're hyping. The final thing comes out, and then people just come out thinking, what was that? But anyways, enough chitter chatter about that. We have another song coming about. That is Coldplay. Yes, Coldplay. With no, not Coldplay. Crying in the Club by Camila Cabello.
And here, play open air. Chillinger.
That was Migo with Get Right With You.
It's a really good song, that one.
It's
one of my
favourites.
Yeah.
Right, so we've talked about YouTubers, we talked about movies, and having a favourite song. What is, I know Migo is currently your favourite artist at the moment, it seems. So, what is this your favourite song or song of them, or?
I just like them overall as a group. I think they're one of those groups that kind of came out of nothing and just done something with their careers. I mean, they just blew up out of nowhere. I started listening to a couple of their songs back in like 2017, and I didn't really think much of them back then, but I found them again like a few months ago, and I really, really like their music. I think it's really good.
Is there any other artists that you seem to have got hooked to these days?
I've always quite liked listening to bands like Coldplay.
Yeah.
I think they're very, they never really get old. I think I could get shown a song from them from 2008 and I still listen to it now and really enjoy it and treat it like a new song.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very open to a different range of music, really. I listen to a lot. How about yourself?
Well, with me, I tend to like different range of different artists, to be honest. I'm a pop sort of person myself. So any tune that has that sort of vibe, I mean, any sort of kind of popish vibe, I quite like. But I think with me, I'm more of kind of a 90s tune person. So, you know, Nelly, well, it's 2000s, wasn't it? Yeah, early 2000s, 90s. So like Nelly, Billy Piper, Destiny Child, and artists like that. I remember the Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys are actually back. Shall I just add, along with artists like Busted and Westlife. Surprisingly, Westlife are back. Yeah, I'm just into sort of like slightly older music, to be honest. As I grew up with it, to be honest. Yeah, to be honest, there's loads of times. Yeah, I grew up to that sort of music, so
Yeah, I mean, my favourite type of music is probably rap, I'd say. But like you say, I'm very open and I enjoy some music right now comes up in the charts and I really enjoy it. Like there's a song by Sway Lee and Post Malone called Sunflower, and I'm quite a big fan of that song. Like that, I really like that song. I really enjoy it. But I mean, throughout like my life, I mean, I've been brought up more around rock music, like Jimi Hendrix,
yeah.
and all those kind of artists. So it's very different. I guess I have a very, very open range of music I enjoy because it's all come at me from different directions.
I mean, I haven't heard of Sway Lee until he done a track with Ellie Goulding back in December, where she's decided to delete all her previous posts from her Instagram, or I don't know, delete them, put them on private. They're most probably on private because I doubt you're gonna want to delete all your Instagram posts just because you want to publicize a song. But yeah, I think he's quite alright. Sway Lee, I mean, he has that sort of kind of vibe. He's American, so you know, got that sort of American sort of rap vibe in a English sort of pop song.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've not really heard about Ellie Goulding recently at all. I mean, massive a few years ago, but now gone off the radar a bit, but tends to be coming back.
She does come back through little drops. I mean, she came back for a little bit. Came back a little bit with her new song "Close to Me," featuring Sway Lee and Diplo. Then she done one with Clean Bandit, which didn't actually go as large as what "Close to Me" was sort of like. Even yeah, it wasn't as big as "Close to Me," but she has come back again with a new song called "Flux," which is slightly different in contrast to "Close to Me" and "Mama." So yeah, they're sort of different contrasts, but as you said, yeah, she hasn't been as big as what she used to back in about 2011, 2012. Then she had a massive sort of break in people knowing her, and then she came back with a whopper after she done the kind of 50 Shades of Grey film where she done Love Me Like You Do, and then also came out with a great banger, which is my all-time favourite from one of her newest songs, On My Mind.
She's done she's done a couple films. She also helped with that Bridget Jones' Baby.
Yeah,
film.
that's
done a
where
song for that. What was that called?
Still Falling for You.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very delicate and beautiful song when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, she's is doing quite a bit more. I mean, she's apparently having a new album that's supposedly to come out this year. She has also done, as I didn't mention, she's done Close to Me, Mama, and Flux, but she's also had another song. I'm not sure that's